Hi, everyone. Here we are, Thursday morning again. And today we're talking about being a sunflower. So we have a few minutes yet. So I am going to just wait to start. And we're going to see if we can't all improve our confidence and our joy in life. For those of you that are just listening to this, I'm just going to talk a little bit while we're sitting here and waiting. I'm still getting used to learning how to make the live start just exactly when it's supposed to. And I am going to learn all about this technology of this, I promise. But for right now, what we're going to do is we're starting to learn more and more about our health span. Our lifespan is one thing, the whole longevity and being a super ager and the blue zone and all of those things are so important. And so I think that's good. And I've studied it for a lot of years. But what I want you to think about is our lifespan as important as our health span? And that's what we really want to grow on. And so we got about 1 minute left. And like I say, I will get this down to a science. I know that it's out there and I can learn this. Oh, Kathleen, hi. And I'm happy that you're here. Um, so we're working on our health span. And so we've been working about the vagal nerve, which affects everything. But more and more, we have to figure out how to make that vagal nerve really happy so that it can go everywhere and affect everything. So today, this class is called Be a Sunflower. And what happened to me this week is I had a bit of a getting stuck in the mud. One of those things when I talk about the quicksand, when you start down a path and it just keeps kind of going downhill for a bit. And I happened to see a video about that. I'm kind of careful to stay away from the news, but sometimes if you're watching something on your computer, you see the news. And so my thought when I saw the thing about Persia, about which is what Iraq used to be, Iran used to be called, um, it triggered inside of me someone that I had met when I was a young girl. When I was 20, I lived next door to a girl from Persia, she always told me. And we would talk in a limited form as much as we could because we didn't speak each other's language, but we were both the same age and we were living next to each other. So as we would talk, I grew to care about her. And when I see this bombing, it brings back wondering where she was. And it made my feelings um, kind of, I felt at rest. It was like it was heavy, a heavy feeling. So I thought, what can I do to turn that around? Because I know I am in charge of what I'm feeling. And I thought I need to do the opposite. If this is heavy, I need to do light. If this is sad, I need to do happy because that balances in my body. And that's all I'm in control of is my own body. So I started to think about sunflowers because we need the the joy. And it's hard to look at a sunflower and not feel joyful. And sunflowers are just such an unusual flower because it follows the sun. It starts in the morning looking east, and it will move during the day for its head to turn west. Now, this is an ancient thing about sunflowers, of what they spiritually stand for. They stand for spiritual growth, a joyful life. Uh, you wish for a full, vibrant life. When you give somebody a sunflower, that's what you're looking for. But listen to this one. As a sunflower becomes more mature, it only looks east. And that's what we have to do. As we become older, and we need to look east, look towards the sun. Now, I have a study for you because you know how I love studies. And it's from the Journal of Geriatrics. And they start to study of people that were 70 and above. Because in our society, it's like you just keep going downhill as you get older. And that's not what science is telling us. In fact, what they found out, this was a huge study, like 29,000 people, I think, that they followed for 12 years. Health can improve in 45% of the people, health improved. Physically, 28%, and mentally, 32% is how they came up with that 45%. And what they have found is the more positive you are about aging, this appeared to be what influenced their health. Now, there's a whole bunch of other studies going on right now that they're looking at what is the difference among people that are super agers, the whole blue zone people and all of that, because basically there's a whole lot of people that eat well. Some diets are a little better than the others, but people that exercise, all of those kind of things. What is it that changes everything? And they found that it is optimism. So there's a study out in it's written up in JAMA, and it is from cardiologists, and they compared um, 15 different studies. So they've taken 15 different studies, and there was I think 165,000 people in this one, and they found that the lower your optimism, 35% lower cardiovascular problems, overall lower mortality, because they found out that people that are optimistic take better care of themselves. They eat better, they exercise, they have better relationships. And most of all, if you're optimistic, you have less stress. And so that's the continual wear and tear on your body, and it causes inflammation. You have lower depression if you're optimistic. And on average, now just a second, just makes me, excuse me very much. On average, they're going to live 15% longer than pessimists. And so this comes up to you become exceptionally longer. And so they're talking about people that are optimistic live in general over the age of 45. If you look at people that are over the age of 45 or 85, it's because they're optimistic. They're better at reframing negative situations or situations that we perceive to be negative. So, um, so you reframe that, look at it in a different way. They're more confident. They try to go over obstacles, and they become persistent. So these are two really big studies, and it's something that I also think, because we've studied so much about the vagal nerve, it is also the point that where the vagal nerve comes to all of our cells. It's gathering information from all of our cells, from all of these places that are like little central areas, which a lot of times correspond to the chakras, but say these places along our spine, on every one of our organs. The vagal nerve touches all of this and gathers information, takes it to our brain sends back to tell all these other things because it's a two-way, like a radio, two-way radio. All right. So this is going all over. One of the big things that affects our vagal nerve is our attitude. So this is what we can see. It affects our whole body. It's what we're talking about, epigenetics, about neural, psychoneural immunology. It affects our immune system. It's affecting everything in our body and our mind. So Elizabeth Blackburn, I want to write this to let you know this because this is actually facts I want you to know. Elizabeth Blackburn won the Nobel Prize. She actually shared it, but she won this because she discovered an enzyme that replenishes the telomeres. Now, those are the little caps on our chromosomes. Now, the shorter these telomeres become, think of it like a shoelace. That little part, that plastic part, that if you don't have that, it's really hard to thread into your shoe. Okay, that's like what a telomere is, the little plastic part. Now, the shorter that is, when that starts to unravel, that's cellular aging. Now, optimism, this enzyme that she discovered replenishes it. It starts to make that little plastic end of your chromosome, it starts to make it stronger. It makes it a little bit longer. It slows down our cellular aging. Now, this is the trick of it all. What activates that enzyme? You got it. Positive attitude. The neurotransmitters that you set out when you think positively activates the enzyme that replenishes the telomere, which slows down cellular aging. Isn't that exciting? I mean, this is stuff that we have control over. There's so many things that we don't have control over in life. I have no control over bombing the Mideast. Nothing. So for me to feel bad about that, I can feel bad about it. I can send love to the people that are being displaced, that are frightened. But all I do when I do that is add darkness. I just add darkness. That doesn't help anything. But I can add lightness just to this little, maybe just into my house, maybe just into my body, maybe the light in my house, in my body, will spread out to my neighborhood, to my town, to my state, to my country. That's all that there's even hope that I could do. So let's try to raise our health span. So I'm going to give you some different ideas for this. And I also have a class that I thought we'd start doing. I got a certification in hypnotic charisma. And what it is it's about confidence. Charisma is really about confidence. Charisma is, you meet those people where you just want to know them because it's like they just shine out. There's just certain people, that Obama had it. People were reaching out to him. And so this is the thing that yeah, Sandy says the light, and that is it, the light inside of you. So we're going to work on that, and it is evidence, medical, scientific evidence that optimism improves our physical and mental health. They've they've figured that one out in every which way. So here's some of the things that, first of all, the characteristics of a positive person. Um, they believe that anything is possible. So they are always seeing opportunities. They're always thinking of, if this is a problem, what can I do about it? What what can I do? How can I go around it? How can I go over it? So they see the opportunities. They're satisfied with life. They're satisfied with life. They enjoy life because, somebody asked me once, and they said to me, what if past lives are true, or reincarnation is true and we come back? Would you want to come back? And without even thinking, I said, yes, because I enjoy life. I really do. There's so many good things and so many things that I didn't get to do yet, that I'm kind of hoping that we get another chance. So, are you satisfied with life? Do you believe things will get better? We might be in a little bit of a funk right now in our country, but do you believe that it will get better? They have a positive effect on people around them. When you're in your house, when you're in your wherever you are, do you have a positive effect on the people around you? Are you resilient? Resiliency is the most important thing that we can have. That's the strength that we should really try to grow, is to become more resilient, because that means that stress has less of an effect on us. The more, when I learned about stress management, and I studied that with one of the top stress people from Colorado, and who became a good friend of mine. And as we studied it more, he would say to me, it's not really about stress management, it's about becoming resilient. Reframing it, see, stress, resilience. They're two parts. It's life is kind of like, remember when you're a little kid and you're on a teeter totter and you try to balance it? That's what life is. It's that balance. And it is, we all have stress. We have to have stress. If you got rid of all the cortisol in your body, you would die. We have to have stress. That's what gets us up in the morning. That's what keeps our muscles going. It's we have to have stress. But the problem is we get too much stress. So we need to work on being resilient. And so they remember past successes. We all have had some successes. So remember the part that is good. You bounce back from setbacks. So things happen that you don't like, things happen that put you into a funk, make the world feel heavy. How long does it take to bounce back? That's what you want to become able to bounce more and more, faster and faster. And they believe that everything has a reason. And so, what is the reason for this? What is the reason for that? We might not be able to see it right now, but there is a reason that, or at least we can pretend there's a reason. And you focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. So, always focusing on what makes you strong. I read something yesterday or this morning. I guess I woke up and something popped up on my phone, and it said we should try to be the characteristics of the people that we've loved and lost. What is it that you loved about the people that you lost? Your grandmas, your great grandmas, your grandpas, your siblings. What is it about them that you loved? Can you make that characteristic more in your life, honoring them in that way? Um, a strong sense of self. You know who you are and you like it. You like who you are. Good coping skills. And this is one that I really think we all have to focus on, is being able to accept compliments and think of them as gifts from whoever is giving you this compliment. It's a gift. So instead of saying, I've heard people say, oh, no, if you say, oh, you have such a beautiful smile, and they say, oh, no, no, it's a gift. It's a gift. I'm seeing that you have beautiful eyes. I'm seeing that you have beautiful smiles. It's what I'm seeing. It's my perception. Don't throw it back at me. Accept it. That makes you more of an optimistic personality. Optimistic people are driven by a passion. They're driven by this feeling of wanting to make the world better. Making the world, I have this thing in my life that I want it to be better than when I came into it. That I've done something that has made life better. And whenever it makes me sad when I think that I'm doing something and it's not touching somebody else, making them think, I don't want to fix you. You're already fine, just like you are. I just want to give you more strength. I want to give you more tools that I have learned on my journey. It's not about fixing anybody. It's it's about sharing. It's about sharing the tools. Um, can you see things from somebody else's perspective? What about the person that's making you the most crazy? The person that might be just giving you grief. Can you see life from their perspective? The other day, I was talking to somebody that I really do love. He's a good guy, and he was explaining to me over and over. It was a long call about why we had to bomb Iran and all the good that's coming from these things and all the good that's going on in our country and how this has all been it it was a very unsettling conversation. I needed a nap when it was over. And but then I thought, no, I have to see things from his perspective for a minute because there's something that I am missing in this conversation. And this is what's happened in our country. We have this big division. We have this big division between groups of people because we're not looking at it from two different perspectives. See the good. Take responsibility that for what you do. Sometimes I really screw up, but I'm usually say, I screwed up. That's not I was looking at it from a different angle. Can you take responsibility from that? Can you understand and know the power that words have? Can you be patient enough to wait for what comes next? Because I'll tell you one thing, this is the main thing I've learned through life, and it has nothing to do with certifications or anything else. Everything is going to change. Everything is going to change all the time. It's always changing. It's always changing. That's what life is. So can you be patient and wait a little? can you know that everything is possible? Everything is possible. There's so many things that you think, oh, it'll never happen. It's possible. It's possible because things that just should never happen happen all the time. But to believe that, you have to believe in yourself. You have to have confidence that that you can change yourself. You can become stronger. So how do we do this? Some people say that and have a sense of humor. Have a sense of humor. See the joke of this whole thing. See how it's always different. So the guy that I was talking to is I met him and Jim at the very same time, the very same time, and and um, and it was all I could think is when I got off that phone is thank God, thank God I married my Jim because I would have lost my mind. And then I thought it just made me laugh of how different I would have been in a different situation. How can you laugh about the time this week? We had a lot to laugh about because last week I was outside with bare feet, you know, hula hooping. And this week I was locked in my house because I had 18 inches of snow at every door. We couldn't get out until the kid that brings in wood came and shoveled our doorways out. And so, you might as well laugh about it because what are you going to do about it? This is just what happens. Things happen in life. And you have to know how to make a difference. So, here's a few things. Some people say that this is the whole thing of optimism is a muscle and we have to work on it to make it grow. So I've got a few, I think about 8 things that you can do to make that muscle grow. Practice gratitude. Every day, think of 3 things you're grateful for. Now, this is the trick of it. Try to think of things you didn't think of the day before. Try to have new things that you're grateful for. And you can always find things that you're grateful for. I can remember after when I had the bad stroke is I used to sometimes think, I'm just grateful that I'm breathing. And I would concentrate on every breath of how grateful that I still had this breath. I still think in the morning when I wake up, I think, okay, a brand new sheet. This is like if you're a writer, you think of a sheet of paper. If you're an artist, you think of a beautiful piece of paper that you are just starting to draw on or paint on. Think of it every day. This is a whole new time. How am I going to fill that paper up? And is it going to be beauty or is it going to be sadness? Is it going to be joy? Am I going to use a lot of colors or am I just going to paint it black? Think about it. Think of the things that you're grateful for. 3 things every day. Reframe a challenge in your life right now. Whatever is a challenge in your life, even if it's not some big thing, and maybe it is a big thing, think of that challenge and see it as a boulder. No, I'm going to show you something different. What I want you to do is we are going to get rid of it. So everybody think of some kind of a problem. And I want you to feel it, put it in your hand. Just think of something problem. This is something that I did right before I came to the idea of that I wasn't moving, I didn't want to move, is I did this with it. So it was a big thing about whether we could take care of it. Well, all of these things. And it was, what color would it be? What color would it be, that problem? And I want you almost to think of it as clay, as for me, they usually are black. It could be pain. It could be anything. Now push it in. You might even hear it make a noise. Squish it, squish it, squish it. Squeeze it in, that issue, that problem. Squeeze it in until you can feel. And then whoosh, push it, throw it away. And send it to the light. One more time. Squeeze it. See the problem. Maybe it's a little smaller now. Maybe it's a little lighter. Squeeze it. Just like when you were doing Play-Doh. You squish it and squeeze it. It changes shape. It changes form. Maybe you can hear it. Maybe you can smell it. And then on the count of 3, you're going to send it to the light. And see if maybe you feel just a tad lighter, just a little lighter. And be aware on your third eye, your intuition, let that go. And you know, sometimes when you're trying to think of a name or a song or what movie was it that I watched, something like that, and you think about it, you can't remember, and then all of a sudden you quit thinking about it, and the answer comes to you. That's what we're doing with this. We're squishing it, we're sending it to the light, and we're saying, send me some clarity, send me something good. What we're really doing with this is we are getting rid of trying to control everything. We're sending it to the light. So we're reframing it. Surround yourself with positive things. I am really big on this, surrounding myself with positive things. Here's my new cup. It just has all sorts of good things because I think it's important what we drink out of, because water is such a big part of us. So I bless the water that I drink out of this first. And inside the cup, it says, feel good today. And that's what my intention is for that. So I've got that. I've got things all around my house that remind me. On my bathroom mirror, how does it get better than this? Choose joy. When I wake up in the morning, in front of me, there's 2 signs. One sign says brave and strong, and one sign says choose joy. And so when I wake up, I look and I think, I'm brave and I'm strong and I choose joy. Keep thinking, keep surrounding yourself as much as you can with everything that's positive. Exercise. That is one of the things that makes us more optimistic because it moves our body. It changes things, changes our environment. Listening to music, staying in the present moment, mindfulness. Expand your experiences. Curiosity. This is the top of everything when they're talking about longevity. In the top 3 things, every study is curiosity. Right now, what I'm thinking about is, because it is still bothering me somewhat that all that we're losing from the Mideast. And I don't know if it's politically right, wrong. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, what are we losing? I don't know much about the Mideast at all, but I am going to learn about the Mideast I'm going to learn about it. I've decided I'm going to learn about more places that I don't know about. I want to learn about Africa because I know very little about Africa. I know very little about the Mideast. I know very little about South America. I know more about Europe. I know more about I know more about the Far East because because I traveled to China and I learned a lot there. I don't know a lot about Australia, but I want to learn about these places. I'd like to have a group that we ate food that would be found in these places and learned about it. You know, these are things that I think the more curious we are, well, it's not even something I think, it's what they're finding in science. The more curious we are, the more we learn new things, the more our cognition is stronger. Then we go back to that whole idea of in the Journal of Geriatrics of how our our mental health can improve and our physical health can improve. And when we improve one, the other one becomes stronger too. So what is it you would like to learn? What is it that you would like to be curious about? Think about that. So, if anybody has any questions or comments, please put them in here now, and so we can see if there's something else that you are interested about this, a direction that you'd like to go more with this. The more confidence we have, the more optimistic we become, because the confidence makes us, when you think back to that list that I gave you of characteristics, really, you can look at all of those things and think a lot of that is confidence. So, um, are you interested in any of these things? Is it this is kind of for you? And so, if you are interested in any of these areas or something else, let me know. And I will next week we will go in a direction for that. Whatever I hear about, we're getting close in my mind. What I thought that these little things would be is to do things until my birthday, which we're getting closer to in April. Um, can you have too much confidence? That sounds kind of like, can you have too much fun? No, but what you can have is if it becomes ego. Confidence and ego are two different things. Confidence is just knowing who you are. Ego is when you get somebody that's bragging. Confidence has no bragging to it, it's just true. It's just true. This is who you are. And when you look at people that have charisma, and charisma is a confidence, it's they don't brag and they care more about the other people than they do about themselves. So confidence, no, I don't think you can have too much confidence. Can you have too much ego? Yeah. So I don't know how you feel about that, but I that is my take on it. For that, confidence is just a strength, and it's and mostly the people that are braggarts, the people that are too egotistical, is they really aren't confident. What they are is they're trying to make everybody else think there's something that they aren't. Does that answer your question, Kathleen, from my point of view? Um, and so, anybody else have a thought on that? Uh, okay. Is there anything else that you guys would like me to focus on with this next? And there's so many things that we can grow with. And I think for me, the big thing is I just want more light. I want more joy. And one of the things for that, it's not only creativity. I mean, it is creativity and curiosity. It's not just curiosity, it's creativity too. Are you creating beauty? You know, some of you have gorgeous gardens that every year I see pictures of your gardens being so beautiful. And so my thought is, are we creating beauty everywhere we go? Because it's easier to be light and love when we're living in beauty, when we're living in joy. So I thank you for being here today. And please send me a message if you are thinking of anything that we can that you would like to work on. Um, yeah, and it is the thing is feeling happy and sad. Um, you know, the problem with the sunflowers, planting the sunflowers, they need full sun. And so the only place I can think of is in the backyard, but it also they don't like wet feet. So that is a problem. That's where my son is, and I'm sorry, they also would have wet feet. So I'm looking for a place because we always used to have them in our garden until my trees got too big and now they shade the garden so much. And but if you have a place that's sunny, and that would be good. And Elizabeth, you're right. You can't feel happy and sad at the same time. So we have to choose. This is the problem with that whole thought is things can happen, it's like this. And so it's hard to change so fast. That's where the idea of a muscle comes in. Because can you split second choose happy, sad? Because things are coming in at us so fast. So we have to keep choosing. So the more that we can be surrounded by it all the time, it's healthier we can be so that our body can work fast, that our mind can constantly go, because you get this feeling in your heart and you want to quickly make the choice with your brain. So vagal nerve, the feeling in your stomach, your emotion in your heart, and then the thought in your brain. So you're getting all of these, the vagal nerves out there collecting all these different things everywhere that we are seeing and hearing and bringing it back. And what is your gut feeling? What is your heart's emotion? What words are you using to change all those things? So that's the choice. And we need to be congruent between all of those. Okay, everybody have a fun day. Kathleen, pick up a shell for me and squish your feet in the sand. And we will think we'll see you all next week. Bye bye. Send me some messages of what you want to work on. Have a good day. Bye bye.